Welcome back to our Richest YouTube channel. In today's class, we're going to learn how to make this beautiful A-line dress with flutter sleeve. You can see the sleeve is like a bell sleeve. It's fitted to the bicep, and then it has flare extension to wherever length you want. So this is the full length, and this is where it looks
like. So to make this A-line, this is an ankara fabric. My total length is 60, and we all know ankara is by 45. So I folded this by the yardage, not the length. So let's assume this is the fabric. Okay, this is the 45 inches and this is the yardage. So the yard can be as up to 12 inches, 15 inches, 12 yards, 15 yards, depending on how you want. So like I said, my length is 60 inches and the length of the ankara is 45. So I could not fold by the length like this because I can only get 45 if I fold like this. So this was how I folded this. I folded along the yardage. So I just measured from here. I measured my 60 inches and then I folded like this. You can see that I can get something longer. So that was how I folded this, and this is what I have here like this. I have the front and this is the back. I want it to have zipper. That's why you have this 1 inch for zipper allowance. Okay, because the ankara is colorful, I don't know if you can see my zipper allowance, but this is the front and this is the back. You can see that the front did not get to the end. So that is what I have folded, and then the measurement that I used to fold like this is of course my 45 inches. Okay, so automatically after folding by the length, I just left the 45 inches. So on fold, I'll have about 22.5 inches. So that's what I'm going to be using at the hem of my hairline. That's how wide it's going to be. So now the shoulder I'm working with is 18 inches, whereby 2 is 9. I'm adding half an inch because of the sleeve that I'm adding. So I have 9.5 inches here, and I'm taking that measurement from the front. Okay, remember this is just the zipper allowance, so that's where you're going to take your measurement. So here I'm going to come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope, and then the neckline that I'm working with. So the neckline is not so wide, it's almost like a boot neckline, but for me I'm going to use 4 inches for my width. And then for the depth, I'm going to use 4 inches for front and then around 2 inches for the back. Okay, it's not so wide, and at the same time it's not so small. And I'm having a zipper, so there's no problem, the person can wear it easily. If you are not fixing a zipper to yours, you can also open the back a bit to pass buttons, or you can just make your neckline wide enough for your wearer to wear it comfortably. So now I'm connecting my neckline, and after that, okay, so now after drawing my neckline, I'm going to connect my shoulder slope. I hope you can see this. I'll try as much as possible to make it visible. Okay, so now from the starting point again, I'm going to mark my armhole. The armhole is 19 divided by 2 is 9.5. So here I have my armhole, and then I'm going to connect that as well. Okay, and then on the armhole line, I'm going to take my bust measurement. The bust I'm working with is 51 divided by 4 is going to give around 12 point something, 12.5 or 12.75 or so. So here I'm going to mark that, and you know this is an hairline dress. You don't want it to be too fitted. Okay, so I'll just add maybe half an inch or 1 inch for his, and then I'm going to add another 1 inch for my seam allowance. So I'll just connect all of that. So if you don't want yours to be fitted, you can just connect it from your armhole all the way to the hem, but I want it to have a little bit of fitting. So I'm going to mark my half length, but before then I'll use my curved ruler to create my armhole curve. Okay, so that's my armhole. So now the half length is 17 inches. So from my shoulder point, I'll mark 17 inches, which is here. And on that point, I'm going to take my waist measurement. So the round waist is 46 divided by 4 is going to give me around 11.5 or there. Okay, 11.5. So here again I'm going to mark 11.5. I'm going to add 1 inch for ease, and then I'm going to add another 1 inch for my seam allowance. So from my bust now, I will connect to my waist. Okay, you can see that it's giving it a little bit of shape in there. I just don't want it to be big. And then from this waistline now, I'll just connect it straight to my hem in a diagonal form. Remember, the hem is 22.5 inches, which was our length, our dress, our ankara length when we folded it into 2. So now I'll go ahead now and connect all of this in a diagonal form to my hemline. So I have connected it. As you can see it's just a diagonal connection from my waistline all the way to the hem. So what I'm going to do now is to go ahead and cut this out. So I'll cut the back neckline first. Remember, it's shorter, and then I'm going to cut my shoulder slope, my armhole, the side seam, and then I'm going to raise the front and then cut out the front neckline as well. So I'll cut facing for this because I don't want to use bias to turn it. If you are turning with your bias, you can also cut bias for it. And then I'm going to open up the center back because of the zipper that I'm going to pass through it. I have cut it out now, and you can see the shape that we have. You can see that it's a little bit fitted at the waistline, and then you just connected this all the way down. So I have cut out facing for it as well. This is the facing for the front. It's just a smaller length, okay, to what I have here, and this is the facing for the back as well. So to sew it, I'm going to go ahead and turn the facing first, okay. Then after turning the facing, I'm going to join the shoulder and then the side seam. So I'll set this aside now so that we can cut the belt sleeve. So the belt sleeve is fitted up to the bicep area, and then from there it just can be as wide as you want. So I'm going to be cutting that. You can cut it with your free hand, which I have done on the channel, but I'll be cutting this using slash and spread method. So I'll just take us through how I'm going to do this now. Okay, so for the sleeve, like I said, it's going to be fitted up to the bicep area. So this is my calf's height, and it's around 4.5 inches from my sleeve edge, so you can see. So now on that point, I ruled a line. This is just a basic sleeve, a regular basic sleeve. The only difference is that the hem is not shaped. Remember, if you're drafting a basic sleeve, where your hem is, you measure around that place, and that's going to be the measurement you're going to use to shape the hem. But in this case, because it's still going to be spread, the hem is not shaped. That's why you have it like this. So now you can, to create your slash and spread, remember, whatever I am slashing, I'm going to make sure to stop it around here, so that from here upward it's still going to remain my actual measurement. So now what I'm going to do, the sleeve is quite big because the person has a big size. Remember, the armhole is 9.5. I increased this to 10 inches, and I still added 1 inch seam allowance that I added on my bodice to it. So I have about 11 inches here. So now dividing that to 3 inches is going to give me about 3.5 inches. So what I'm going to do from the fold point of the sleeve, remember, this is where the fold point is going to be. This is where the sleeve is going to be folded to cut. From there, I'm going to mark my 3.5 inches, which is here. I'll mark it again here. Okay, so I'm just trying to create like slash lines, and then from where my bicep stop, remember, that's where my sleeve is going to stop, my slash is going to stop. So from there, I'm coming down by 2 inches. Okay, so now what I'm going to do now is to make these 2 inches into a straight line, as well as the 3.5 inches that I marked, so you can see. So this is my first slash line, and then for the second slash line, I'm doing the same thing. From where the first slash line stops, I'll mark the 2 inches again. Then after that, I'll mark another 3.5 inches like this. Okay, so I'm just having 2 lines. If you're having more, you just need to reduce the width that you have. So here again, I'm connecting the 3.5 inches first, and then I'm going to connect these 2 inches as well. So these are my slash lines. So the next thing is to slash these lines, and then I'll go ahead and spread it directly on my fabric. You can also spread on another paper. So the first slash line I'm going to make is going to be here. I'm going to cut it, but not completely. I'm going to stop my cutting at the tip. Okay, So the next one, I'm going to cut like this and stop at the tip, and cut like this and stop at the tip as well. So that is basically what I am going to do, and then I'll spread it on my fabric. Okay, so I have already cut it as you can see, and I forgot to mention that the total length of this sleeve is about 14 inches. Okay, it's going to stop around the elbow area. So to spread it now, I'll just place my fabric underneath, and then I'll spread along this line. So you spread as much as you want. Okay, so I'll bring my fabric now and spread on it. Okay, so I'm gonna head to fold my fabric. You can see this part is on fold, and this is the folded part of my pattern as well. So what I did was just to pin it. So just make sure that whatever you do, this caps area remains the same. You can see that we did not alter it at all. The spreading starts from where the cap stop, because you want this part to still be its original measurement, and then the spreading you're going to do is going to be from here. So you can spread as much as possible, but I want mine to be moderate. So you can see that I did not spread this so much, and I just decided to do this shape because I just want to try it out. I saw this somewhere. You can also just from here, you can just make your slash line straight like that, and then just cut it out and spread. So now after doing this, what I'm going to do now is to go ahead and use my scissors to cut out what I have. So if you don't already have seam allowance on the hem, you can just add your seam allowance here as you are cutting it. So you can see the way I am trying to match everything up. So I have cut it out. As you can see now, I can detach my pins from it, and this is what our belt sleeve is looking like. Okay, you can see it's very simple to make. So now I'll just go ahead. You can cut lining for it if that is what you want, but I'm just going to hem the lower part. Okay, and then I'm going to fix this directly to my bodice. So I've gone ahead to sew in my facing. You can see that the neckline is clean, and then I join the shoulder of the front and back together. I sew in the belt sleeve that we created, and then I joined it on this side. So this is my zipper at the back. The zipper is fixed as well, and you can see that the neckline is also clean at the back. So I'm just going to weave the inner part where I sew my sleeve and the side seam, because this is not fully lined, and then I'm going to go ahead to create the yoke illusion as well. Okay, so I decided not to add a yoke to this because I don't have a distinctive pattern to this dress. Okay, if you have patterns that you can alternate, you can try to add a yoke. So to create my yoke illusion, from my shoulder point, I'm just going to mark, I'm going to measure around 7 to 8 inches downward, between 6 to 8 inches basically, and then I'm going to, you can use a trimming. Okay, just rule a faint line so that it will not be noticeable, and then on that straight line you can even create a sweetheart neckline for your yoke or whatever it is that you want to create, and then you use your trimming to demarcate it. So for me, I think I'm just going to cut out this flower pattern that is on the dress. If it comes out well, I'm going to go ahead with it, and if not, I can also add maybe stone or a flower trimming just to bring it out and show that I have something going on there. So what I'm going to do now is to go ahead and arrange this on that line, and like I said, you can make it in the straight line or in form of a sweetheart neckline. Okay, if we want it in form of sweetheart neckline, you can see the way I'm bending it, and once you get to the middle, you start arranging again. So I have a detailed tutorial on how you can cut out a flower pattern like this on the channel. If you don't know how to, I'm just going to link it down in the description box down below. So you can arrange just like this as well, or if you have any trimming that can bring it out more, you can use trimmings as well, or if you have anything you have just to beautify it, okay, you can just place it and arrange it anyhow you want. So I'll do this now, and then I'll take it to the mannequin so that I can see what it looks like.
So I decided to use this trimming to create my yoke illusion. I can see how beautiful it is looking. You can use whatever you want, just like I explained. This is the full feel of the dress. The length is 60 inches. And you can see the sleeve that we created. You will see that the sleeve is fitted around the bicep area, and then from there it just extends, and you can increase it to whatever flare that you want. I hope you enjoyed making this beautiful tutorial with me. If you enjoyed it, let us know in the comment section. Like, comment and subscribe to our channel, and I will see you in the next one.